What up? It's the Grandpa MC coming at you with another video. Like, subscribe, share, comment. Alright. So, I decided this video is going to be about something pertaining to the past of the NBA instead of current events, because everybody's familiar with all the smoke podcasts with Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes, and they've had some really good guests these past 3 to 4, 5 ones. They had Magic Johnson, of course. They've had Reggie Miller. That was another good one. They had Ron TMC on there. But getting to the point, they had Craig Hodges. This last one. And Craig Hodges, if you don't know, Craig Hodges was on the first two championships of the 6 that the Bulls won. And just a brief history lesson on Craig Hodges. Craig Hodges was basically blackballed from the NBA after he suggested that Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan boycott the finals. This was around the Rodney King era and all this, and Craig Hodges is a community guy, power to the people type guy, and that's a great thing. But his interview was very informative. It was great to hear his perspective on things. But the particular one subject in particular that I wanted, the one I'm making a video about, is Scottie Pippen. Now, they asked him about what did they think about Scottie Pippen. What did he think about Scottie Pippen? And Craig Hodges said that in a lot of ways, Scottie Pippen was better than Jordan, but he didn't have the backing. He didn't have a background that Jordan had. So, Jordan, from the point he got cut from his high school team, till the time when he arrived in North Carolina, and the moment that he had when he won the NCAA championship, he had confidence backing him from that point on. Like, everybody was, telling him he was the greatest and all that. And it is true. Some confidence is self-motivated, some is created. So, Scottie Pippen is post Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen came from Central Arkansas. He was a manager on the team prior to that. So Scottie Pippen was self-made. Not saying that Jordan was self-made, because Jordan was self-made too. But Scottie Pippen the first time he got any kind of notoriety was when he went to the pre-draft workouts and all the teams were raving about him. But I watched, and I know I'm not the only one, but like I said before in other videos, people see what they want to see. And so when I watched the Chicago Bulls because I started watching the Chicago Bulls when in the Doug Collins era, and Craig Hodges also spoke on that too, and I've said the same thing. when Doug Collins was coaching the Bulls, it was all about Jordan. Getting Jordan the ball, getting out the way. That's how Jordan made his name. He was ripping the league up, believe me. I remember. But once Doug Collins came, once Phil Jackson came, he emphasized more of team play, and they instituted the triangle in Phil's first year. Now, he also said, and I knew this too, that Jordan did not want any part of the triangle. He resisted at first. He called it a equal opportunity offense. And, that wasn't suitable. That was more suitable to Scottie Pippen. And that was the reason why Scottie Pippen shined once Phil Jackson and Tex Winter implemented the style they wanted to play. And it was said on The Last Dance. Steve Kerr, Jed Bushler, what's old boy name? Bill Winnington. All those guys were pro Scottie Pippen, because Scottie Pippen was the offset to Jordan's fury, anger, displeasement. Pippen was more of a relaxing type influence. Like I've said before, Scottie Pippen, if you came down the floor and Jordan gave you a pass and you messed up, he wouldn't give you the ball. But you could go down court with Pippen give you a pass and you mess that up. Pippen be like, it's all right, let's go. We get it again. That's how Pippen was. He was more of a Magic type thing. He was more of a Magic type player than anything. And that's what made the Bulls what they were. It was like you was playing with Jordan and Magic. Now I'm not saying Pippen was on Magic's level as a player, so to speak. But the play style that Pippen played was like Magic. And matter of fact, Scottie Pippen said that Magic and Dr. J were some of his influences. So a lot of people don't remember Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan terrorizing backcourts and front courts, because again, Craig Hodges referred to those early days, and he said Grant and Pippen were the most athletic front court at that time. Now remember, this was 1987. 1987 to 93. The Bulls, nobody in the front court, nobody in the NBA, maybe a couple other teams, but nobody in the NBA can compete with Pippen and Grant in the front court, because Grant was a little bit ahead of his time and Pippen was ahead of his time. And so they had three athletic players on their team, on their front court. On their team, two in the front court, one in the back court. So that's the reason why their defense was so stifling, because Grant was playing free safety, basically. Pippen and Jordan were the pressure points, and Grant was the safety if somebody got past. People don't remember this. And like guys, like sports and fitness friends and Angry Old Hoop, shout out to y'all, but they be knocking Scottie Pippen. I don't care for that too much. I ain't saying Pippen was the greatest of all time, but it be seeming to me like he's penalized for for playing with Michael Jordan, and it's been countless other teammates in history on other teams that took a certain player under their wing and they developed, and it was due to them. It happened to be Scottie Pippen that benefited from playing with Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan showed him how to play. And how could anybody compete with that? If you couldn't compete with Michael Jordan, how you gonna compete with his understudy, so to speak? So I think that's a lot of I don't know. It's hard to, like, for me to put into words. I don't want to say jealousy, but like they want to knock you. They want to knock him because he was drafted by the Bulls. It wasn't like a LeBron thing where he was brought on. He was drafted by the Bulls. Another player that was greatly influenced by Jordan and the whole team and the Bulls' development was Will Perdue. If people don't remember Will Perdue was stiff. He was a stiff when he came in. He had a weak upper body. He could barely dunk. But like over the years, they developed him, and he was a serviceable piece. Like Will Perdue used to dunk on folks. He was dunking on folks. Serious business. But a lot of the way the Bulls were covered, and the mass media would make you think that Jordan was the everything and all things. But the truth was, they were one of the smartest teams of their time, and they were one of the most athletic and quick teams, and one of the best defensive teams of the league in that period. So that's pretty much all that I wanted to say about that subject. I might could say more, but my time is wrapping up. These videos before I go to work. The nighttime videos are when I get off. The daytime ones are when I'm going. So that's all I gotta say. Grandpa out.